Hello, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ABS Africa Broadcasting Service, coming to you from Houston in the great state of Texas. I'd like to welcome all of you tuning in, particularly from all of Africa, from Cairo to Cape Town. Thank you for staying glued to ABS Africa TV. Also, for those of you joining me from Ambazonia, the great country of Ambazonia, thank you for tuning in. For those of you joining from across the globe in the diaspora, in Asia, in Europe, in the continental USA, Canada, the United Kingdom, of course, that includes Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and being part of the broadcast today. Please, as usual, I will ask you to go ahead. You hit that share button. For this promises to be a historic broadcast today, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, hit your share button, and my apologies for coming to you a little bit later than promised. But again, when circumstances create situations like this, we have no choice here but to come to you just at the right moment. So please go ahead, hit that share button, and of course, I promise you to be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Hit your share button. Again, I am going to be right back.
Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day, on Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken.
All right, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Again, please go ahead, hit that share button. I can see that the numbers are actually jumping right now. Go ahead and you hit your share button. Let's make it up to at least 1,000 people right here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this promises to be a historic presentation here at ABS Africa Television, at the least for those of you tuning in from Ambazonia, seeking freedom and independence in the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. So please, I want to see the numbers jumping. We are almost 500 on Facebook. Please, if you are joining, go ahead, hit your share button. I'm not going to waste time to have you hit 1,000 before I come to you. So much to discuss here, so much to bring to you. I will go ahead and start it right away. But please, you go ahead and you hit your share button. Go ahead and you hit your share button, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and you hit that share button as I come to you with some great news from ground zero. Again, I have promised to bring you some revelations today. Please hit that share button. Let's get this done. All right, I will start, ladies and gentlemen, taking you to Bali, where something is happening in Bali, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, Ambazonia restoration fighters invaded a courthouse in Bali and brought it down, razed it down. Now, the reason was simple. They brought down the courtroom in Bali because instead of using it for a courtroom as such, the courtroom had been designated for use to French Cameroon terrorist soldiers. And so Cameroon soldiers were occupying the premises of that courtroom, and instead of using courtroom to apply justice to the inhabitant, to the residents, they turned it into a military camp. Ambazonian restoration fighters saw that and said, this is not going to continue. Now, don't forget, we had banned every French Cameroon courthouse in our territory, so it appears that after vacating the courthouse, they left it into the hands of French Cameroon terrorist soldiers who were now occupying that courthouse, using it for a residence, for a camp. And so, seeing that, discovering it, Ambazonian restoration fighters stormed the place and pull it down, raise it down. I want you to stay put, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Look at this from Bali.
Now the invisible black warrior this. Now me, General Chobro, the talk. We then also na for inside quiet. We then also for inside quiet. One start born and now so fuck sha. Now for you day. I will fish and lucky that. Now the invisible black warrior this. Now me, General Chobro, the talk. We then also na for inside quiet. We then also for inside quiet. One start born and now so fuck sha. Now for you day. I will fish and lucky that. Now the we don't do them. BGTM be explosive asika. Ah. On a bouffé à deux. Voilà. Ouais. On a un homme. Il y a une vision blanc, on a un bobo. Du tonne, mais non, on a comment va ça? Bombo. Life. Now, quoi this life? On a this yam. Oh, you just stop. Before you move it. Hey. Nandat. Untung bayar. Untung bayar.
On fait des fédés.
Du coup, untung action moi. Nah, kau ya di live, where you put fire? Like that. Where them do? Like them do. Outside the problem. Yeah, now get that now on to you.
All right, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I have been speaking without volume. Thank you for that reminder. But I was saying that these events took place in Bali after French Cameroon courts in Bali were vacated with a warning from this interim government asking all La République du Cameroon courts to be shut down everywhere in Ambazonia. Those in Bali vacated. They vacated the courts, but they were taken over by French Cameroon military occupational forces. And once the Bali restoration forces got wind that French Cameroon forces were occupying court premises in their LGA, they stormed the place, and French Cameroon terrorist soldiers, they vanished, they disappeared, and the Ambazonia forces brought down the place. They brought down the place as you saw it there. Now, that has not been the only event taking place in Bali, ladies and gentlemen. Also on Saturday, the Buffaloes of Bali launched another guerrilla attack on French Cameroon official, on French Cameroon military along the highway, Bali Batebo Highway, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this here. Take a look at this.
Rampa for Bali. Now the buffaloes of Nyongadis. The buffaloes. Now the buffaloes this. The buffalo then this. So what time they reach for a trap. Hey, they don't cast out on I. RPG. Voila, the buffaloes of Bali, the buffaloes of Nyonga, they shine. One amoka don't lie, straight. One amoka day down, no shaking. One amoka day down. One amoka day down. One amoka day down. One amoka day down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, that was in Bali, precisely January the 31st. January the 31st. What you are seeing there, the action you saw there carried out by Bali Buffaloes. Bali Buffaloes. Ladies and gentlemen, Bali is one of the places that action is actually taking place. Let's hear from Comrade Babila, who is actually the security chief, ladies and gentlemen, for the Buffaloes of Bali. Let him tell us what happened there last Saturday. Hello, sir.
Hi, Comrade Trace. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Tell us, explain to Ambazonians these images that we are seeing here, sir.
What you guys are seeing is just a little bit of it because since the 28th, the 29th, the 30th, it is like 4 days continuous attack on that highway because the buffalo have been hitting them so hard. And even the one that just left the courtyard, the buffalo hit them twice last 3 weeks. So we have been in that position that we will not allow the La Republic tourists to have place or space to breathe in our land. We have started to space them out, and they must leave Bali Nyonga. We are now in the, like I would say, in the 4th level of production, which is what we are producing now. It's not something that I can even say it now. It's just for you guys to wait and see. But what we are begging, what the Bali Defense Council, the Buffalo, or whoever in Amazonia is begging is that this fight should be on 350 degrees. If all Ambazonian rise at the same time, we will chase out the Republic of Cameroon. They are so afraid. They don't even have the heart. As I'm talking to you, the Buffaloes, all the resistance force on ground zero, they are more than the Republic trained PIR, and we have the advantage. We have more than 90-degree advantage because it is on our land. It's our, like, we know all the shortcuts, we know when to attack them, we see them, we see all their activities. No matter that we are having some black legs that they are always trying to pull us down, trying to leak our secret out, but we are still on top of them because we try to study the ground and know exactly everything that is happening. Like presently, we know everything. There are a lot of things that I would not like to say here, but we want to promise the people of Ambazonia that we will never give up. We will fight the last man standing. We will fight. The only thing we want Ambazonian people to do is that we should activate the same spirit, the same fire all over the territory. All the LGA should be able to be held accountable for. Every dime that is being contributed in this revolution should go straight to ground zero to provide the material, the needs that is our heroes, our brothers and sisters. They have given their life, they have everything. They sleep in the bushes, under rain, under sun, to defend their homeland. So we should do our part, our duty. We in the diaspora, we are not in. This is not the time for us to be talking politics, because I think so many people have abandoned the struggle. They are trying to protect institutions, to protect their ego, to protect their self-interest. That is not Ambazonian.
Comrade, tell me about what happened in Bali. Let's put that one aside for now. People want to know what the Buffaloes did on the January 31st.
Yeah, on January 31st, we used 2 explosives and 1 rocket launcher. So it was a successful mission because 1 ammo car was down. It was SS. I think that is all I can say now. And the mission took place at Mianka.
Were there casualties?
On the Buffalo side, 0. On the enemy side, a lot of casualties. They have to come back and tow the ammo car.
Okay, yes, I can see that there was really some serious firepower unleashed on that La République du Cameroon military truck there. If there was anybody in that truck, I doubt if anyone survived.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
So that is what happened on Saturday.
Okay. All right, comrade. Now, I'd like to ask you this question. You know, there have been questions about the Buffalo fighters riding in trucks in Bali, and people are wondering, how are they able to ride in trucks with the presence of La République du Cameroon soldiers occupying the place and they are not attacked? Remember the attack on the ADF when they were seen riding around town in trucks. How come Bali Buffaloes are able to ride around town in trucks?
Okay, Secretary, if you look at that truck, you know that that truck is not carrying anything that concerning the military, like a camouflage, or carrying a name written there that Buffalo. No, that truck was a civilian truck. That same night, the night before that day, the Buffalo was on a mission in Bamenda. They slept in Bamenda. Those that the mission was not a successful one, they missed their target. They were in Bamenda. So in the morning when they were coming back, they wanted started to shorten their distance. They saw that driver with the truck. They said, "Can you help us? We want to shorten our distance." And they just took the picture. That truck,
Okay.
the Buffalo do not own any truck. They just try to shorten their distance because they have to trek from Bali, where the unit are, to Bamenda that night, and they were on their way back. And on their way back, they dropped them between 83. That was when they dropped, and they attacked the brigade in Guam that same moment when they dropped them from that vehicle. The brigade was attacked. Yeah, they attacked the brigade, and there was serious gun shooting.
Okay.
So that was what happened, and they returned that truck immediately.
Okay. All right, comrade, thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for what the Buffaloes, Grandpa and the Buffaloes are doing in Bali. I think we can say that I wish that if Bali was Bamenda, we can say that Mezam is in our column, but listen, Bali is doing a great job, the Buffaloes in particular. Thank you for joining me.
You are welcome, Chris.
All right, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Comrade Babila of the Bali Buffaloes, the security chief for the Bali Buffaloes. Now, let me take you to something very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, before I delve into this presentation proper. As you find on your screen, Decision Day, APP meet tomorrow, Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, for new leader, for the Ambazonian restoration struggle, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why this is important? Because this meeting tomorrow is not limited or open only to some leaders. Absolutely not. Every Ambazonian in anywhere in the globe is invited to be at that meeting tomorrow, and the meeting starts at 8 p.m. Amba time. 8 p.m. Amba time. Again, every Ambazonian anywhere across the globe is invited, for as long as you are an independentist, for as long as you are one of those out there advocating for a free and independent Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, you are permitted, welcome to be in this very, very important meeting that is coming up tomorrow. Again, the time is 8 p.m. Amba time. And you got to log in early enough, because again, Zoom rooms have limited capacity. Zoom rooms have limited capacity. Those of you who tuned in last week will recall that those of you who couldn't go in will recall that you were kicked out when you tried logging in. Log in on time. The meeting starts at 8 p.m. Amba time, but the room will be open, I think, about 30 minutes before time. So log in on time so that by the time the room is full, you will have logged in so that you are not kicked out. It's a very, very critical meeting. Every Ambazonian independentist is welcome to that meeting. So please, that is very, very important. Tomorrow is an important day in the history of the Ambazonian struggle. So please make sure you log in on time. The link is circulating out there. If you get to ABS Facebook page, you will find the link. And one thing you can do for those of you watching by way of Facebook is, you want to invite people to that meeting, please copy the link on our Facebook page, ABS Facebook page, and share it. Forward it to those you want to see at the meeting tomorrow. Again, you can copy it and share, or you can share it to groups, WhatsApp groups, social media groups, even on Facebook. Let's make sure every Ambazonian gets it. This meeting is not about some leaders. It is not about some selected people. It is about every Ambazonian, because this struggle for our independence is about all of us, all of us. And there are moments when we have to bring everybody in, when some important choices need to be made, some important decisions need to be taken. We bring in everyone who can show up. So please, you share the link. You share the link, ladies and gentlemen. Now I am going to take you into this moment of revelations. This moment of revelations, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, last Monday, of an interview with one of us who was appointed ambassador to a South American country. He was appointed ambassador to represent Ambazonia, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, in that South American country. For security reasons, I am not going to name that country, and I will ask him as he speaks to me not to mention the name of that country. But this comrade has been in this country knocking the doors of authorities that matter in that country to see that maybe we, Ambazonia, can be recognized as a sovereign country. He did everything that he could. And last Thursday at the APP Constituent Assembly, he narrated the ordeal, what went on, the doors that were open, the doors that were open. But the leadership of this interim government will not do the closing. You know what closing means? When you go out, especially here in the USA, to buy property, there is a terminology they call closing. Closing means signing the agreement and taking over possession of whatever property you are buying. And so, all the negotiations, arrangements had been made. All that was left was for the leadership of this interim government to set foot on that country, meet the leaders of that country to sign that deal. That did not happen. That did not happen because we had a president who will not leave Washington, D.C. He was too scared, too scared. He cared more about his own life than the lives of 8 million people who are putting their lives on the line on ground zero and demanding for their own country. So he did not go there to do the closing of this deal. And so I have with me, ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Nchang. Reverend Nchang, please. I guess at least today I can see that your microphone is on. Please centralize yourself in the camera. Centralize yourself in the camera to your left. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for being able to join me today. It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
The pleasure is mine, Secretary Chris. I bring special salute to all Ambazonians watching on ABS television.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, last time we were unable to get you here because of audio microphone problems. Thank God we are able to get you today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching on Facebook, I'm seeing something not right. I see the numbers up and down. Please, if you have just joined, you haven't shared, hit your share button. This is very, very important information we bring to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that share button. Let those numbers not drop. All right, Reverend Nchang, again, thank you for joining me. We are not going to call the name of the country that we are talking about. Neither are we going to call the name or name the name of the country you are joining me from. You are in South America. That's all that we know. So please, when, sir, were you appointed Ambazonia diplomat in that part of the world?
Thank you very much, Senator Chris. I'd like to equally thank the President, Ikome, Sako, Samuel. I'm going to thank the other pastors who knew us on ground zero and the work and the grit to bulldoze or to break fallow ground and give the testimony when they heard about what the Lord was using us to do in Latin America. And the appointment came in September 2020 as head of missions, a diplomatic mission for Latin America.
All right.
Did you get me?
I got you there. Now tell us what efforts you made to reach out to this country in question. To what level were you able, did you, because I know speaking to us at the last APP meeting, you stated that you had met the leaders of this country face to face. Tell us, please.
All right, thank you. By the very special grace of the Almighty God, who is the watchman of Ambazonia, I was able to be granted the opportunity to shake hands with the president of the country in question after struggling to internationalize the plight of a southern Cameroonian Ambazonia and pleading for all signatories or all countries that signed for the independence of British Southern Cameroon on the 21st of April 1961 at the United Nations General Assembly. The doors were numerous, the challenges were enormous. We are talking about Latin America, so language barrier is just one of the many things. And of course, we have to enroll in the Latin Academy to be able to do that. We have to employ the services of translators to move with us on every diplomatic lobby strategy, crossing the ranks and the fire. We also were exposed to danger of, investigations and probing, because very little of Latin America knows about the two Cameroons. And so by the grace of God and by the tokens of diplomacy, building relationships, presenting bilateral interest, investment, interests were caught and people were excited. Well, the rest of the implications came into place. Oh, El Cameroon, the Ethiopians. So that is all about what they know, and they know about Cameroon and football. And to break these things down, you have to take the people from what they know to what they don't know. And these are some of the things. We had to use the bridges of the Cameroon that the Latinos know to bring them to the very Cameroon that existed and attracted their sympathy, their favors, to be able to vote for our independence. So for your information, the Latinos are part of the signatories to the 64 percent of countries that voted for the independence of former British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. That's for the start. The president took very serious note. We started in solemn actions, information, smooth actions, and most
let me take you,
urgent
please. Let me take you back. Let me take you back a little bit. Unfortunately, your audio is not the best, and we want to make sure that the audience gets what you are narrating there. So you met the president of this country, and you had a one-on-one with him, and narrated the history of the Southern Cameroons to him, and then what next?
And relayed information to our presidency.
You relayed the information
is
it to him from our presidency or from him to our presidency?
Both ways, Secretary Priest. The presidency or the interim government,
all right,
represented by His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako, is conscious of the fact that they were seized, or they were formally, they were reported formal actions, independent actions that by the grace of God we took. And they recognize that, and they say, oh, that's wonderful. If this is the case, then we have to do our part to see that works. And they started, because following the contacts, the diplomatic, protocols, and the public diplomacy and etiquette correspond, of course, there's no precedent except there is a country. So we must put these things straight. I was not fighting when I started, by His grace, the grace of the Most High God, to fight for the liberation, for the restoration of the independence of Southern Cameroon. I never knew who Dr. Samuel Sako was. Even some of those who introduced me to him never agreed with me, because I started on political endeavors by the grace of God back in Cameroon, where we saw the formation of the Social Democratic Front Party. And by the grace of God, I was saved from the bullets that killed 6 persons at Liberty Square, Rwanda. I was there in that month. I don't know how I didn't feel the tear gas, and we went and took Frundi from his house, Papa Frundi, from his house, to declare this. So I'm focused. I'm focusing.
Let's focus on this narrative so that people can get the trend. So you met these leaders and you carried on a discussion with the leader of this country. Tell us what promises they gave you.
Like I was saying, the different demands. The one, you will know that there is a request, there's a demand for a proof of authenticity of what I was saying.
Okay. So they
all this investigation
they demanded proof of authenticity from you.
Of course. And this is how the presidency, Ambazonian presidency, had to forward the first executive order appointment letter for me to present to His Excellency the President of El Republica del Dash. All right? So
So
after receiving such,
you started this initiative ever before you were made appointed ambassador?
Of course.
Okay.
On a serious note, that is what happened, and that it is the testimony that they had to do what was done.
So tell us, so they demand a testimony of authenticity, and what do you do?
The presidency, with things, I would like to let us know that there is a place of demystification of diplomacy, because this could be a total, idle or armchair diplomacy that people use to give you people or to give Ambazonians down there an impression that something is going on when nothing is going on. But on the good note, many have been sacrificing in this life. I got the few documents that constituted what you will term in diplomatic jargon letters of credence. But although it took hard to be able to go that way, we worked for quite some while. Prescriptions were made. We'll send them back to the presidency. The authorities back there, they started doing some slowdown. And this was at the peak of emergency, because the government in question was facing an election, and somebody was already tipped popular to win that election, so they weren't sure.
Now, when are we talking about?
We're struggling. We're talking about 2019, 2020.
Okay.
These are efforts that went through at that time, and when these measures came, I don't know whether it was kind of unbelief or what, but I said, thank you for what documentation you have given so far. Every other requirement, the public space that we're saying, we can say this is a government, a regime that is about to phase out, and they know they may not make it, just like when you hear some people may not want to face elections.
Yeah, please.
What will come out? I'm coming.
You bring the testimony. You bring the testimony. You take it to them. What follows?
That's what we're saying. That when this time, they thought that it should be as slow, because to every other government or diplomat, they think everything must be slow, and they don't see that there are other things that can provoke some very fast moves, especially with a government that, like I mentioned, is ready to face out. So they were ready to see the establishment of diplomatic relations with this nation, and they were making their own checks and balances from their own hand. When I brought feedback and said, this is what is needed next, the view, and even some checks and some write-ups, some corrections were done, and the office space was acquired from my own sacrifices. Inspections were done there. If we're going to quantify it in cash, office space that worth $600 monthly was given to me at $350. They went and saw the promises, and these are some of the proofs.
This was the country securing this office space for Ambazonia.
No, like I said, this is a requirement, one of the requirements, to say if these diplomatic issues are going to be working, They need to know where you are coming from. The presidency needs to know. They cannot profit from somewhere, just come and have audience in the presidency, and they don't have a place where you can be met at a point and a backing from those that you claim, to be representing. I introduced the government, I introduced the president, I introduced everything, and so this procurement of housing, this sacrifice that I did not they doing it for us. We did that believing that the diplomatic lobbying and the budget and whatever, when we talk about diplomacy, we know what it means and what it entails. And when you present yourself as a diplomat, you know what they expect. I will not go to the nitty-gritties of how I was prepared before I met the president face to face and the people who did all those. Nobody is working in Latin America for free. They tell you nothing is for free. So if they gave the time, they gave this, and all the recommendations, you have to take them here, you have to do this, you have to do that. We did all of that. By the grace of God, let us will now move to the minister himself. I can be naming their names and the date and time.
You don't need to name
the Secretary General. I'm not saying that I will do that. I say I can. The Secretary General at the presidency, we have that after the president. We have now to continue with the president, with the Secretary General. We have to continue with the director of Sidwadianya and the rest of that. In the presidency, we have to move to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Actually, I have gone through 3 foreign ministers and 2 presidents in this diplomatic process. The former regime, like I said, we kicked out before they could finalize the thing because we would not, maximize the momentum of the time. I wasn't looked upon as a little David who was facing a giant Goliath, or they didn't see the hand of God in what is called a God-ordained struggle. To just go ahead and do what. So it's like we are busy, we are doing that. You have to pipe down. These are the words from hierarchy. You have to pipe down that. I say, really?
All right, this is important.
Well,
so you have secured a recognition essentially for Ambazonia, and now on our side, you are supposed to get this deal closed by getting our leaders to meet these people. Am I correct?
Correct.
So what then were the difficulties?
So, like I said, when hierarchy tells you to pipe down, you've got to either be on your own. I said, I will not be frustrated. I will continue. The scripture says David encouraged himself in the Lord. For the dying population, over 35, I will not remain quiet. And by the way, there was this exposure that also made, the people of the underworld to say, this kind of Negro who is frequenting the presidency for diplomatic issues must have a diplomatic budget. I've been robbed here time without number. God helped me in that. But the most important thing is that the government was happy that some of theirs were getting, opportunities for employment, opportunities for bilateral relations, cultural exchange that will happen soon. And those who are going to get out of the government, we're going to have something, at the international scale. When the elections came and kicked the regime out, let me say this. I made it clear and contacted authorities and contacted my deputy head of nations for Latin America, as proof, as one of the proofs that this is not, I'm not an espionage checking on the government of this country. All right? Connections were made. Come and say some diplomatic things to authenticate what I'm saying. Opportunities were not as serious as I have been with them. And as I speak, one of the three opportunities are made, two persons tried to speak, and they have who should actually, who incarnates the nation of Ambazonia, an ambassador, an extension or represent Ambazonia through the leadership, with not as much as, like I speak, no dollar for all this. Two presidents, three foreign affairs ministers that have been in touch with. No dollar has come either from the Foreign Affairs Department of Ambazonia or from the president's basket or from whatever, or whether humanitarian, no dollar.
But before we get there,
first of all, understand.
Before we get there, talking about the dollars, I think it is important to know when you approach the president, Dr. Sako, and the Department of Foreign Affairs, sharing with them this opportunity, this open door. How come nobody was sent to join you to finish the deal? What were your experiences trying to get them to do something about it? I think we want to know.
We are not supposed to be, discouraged. We are not supposed to let down any opportunity we have. We are supposed to hit the core of the man that are suffering back home, the various opportunities. In fact, the country in question is a transit hub. Floods of Africa pass through this place. Floods of Amazon pass through this. And no one has the time to spend and talk any other thing but to get, to the borders and enter the USA. But we do this and we get the frustration that we will not see it as a matter of, open doors, opportunities that we must maximize every opportunity because the days are evil. We think that we have our time, we are too, we are preoccupied with other things. Granted, there is a lot of work that is being done, but delegation of powers and commensurate means. I think if there were a single appeal that the president has got to move to see that what this diplomat schooling, hands on deck is saying can bring in something. He is the one who should delegate any other person, his vice president, himself, or the minister of foreign affairs, to move to that. If this were not, and it was because of finances, then that will be a cry that these finances were invested in some other major, diplomatic breakthroughs. The answer should come. I didn't come out to make people weak. We come out to see how to continue, and, make full proof of our work and consolidate the gains we have had so far. The blame game is not. People may have excuses to make, but they would also know, because why I am categorical is that the presidency knew that I didn't, whoever introduced me to them knew I didn't set out from Ambazonian land to come sit in Latin America to be pursuing diplomatic mission for. It is just that I saw, like I mentioned at the age, if you see the Muslims, you see how they have been winning different wars, is that they do not make, a joke of any opportunity, even if it means to give up your life. That is why you have what is called suicide mission within the rank of the Muslim, theocracy, and to them it is termed holy jihad. If my life has been spared and I cannot arrive the destination where I left to go to, I cannot die on this place without talking and helping to die for something than to live for nothing. So this is what we did, and this is what we're continuing to do. And right now that I speak, their opportunities are still there.
But the leader who was there, the leader who was there then is out of office, correct?
He's out of office. His own ministers, his own regime, cabinet is out. The new have come in. And then before the new coming, the one that was tipped to win, we still lobbied and went behind. And there were 4 candidates that were running, that were contesting with the incumbent. Diplomacy will have you to touch the various and then hang on the most tip to win. That is what we did on the ground. And the Lord proved us right in that the most tip to win actually threatened who is on power now. And the one who is on power now went and bought over the one who was tipped to win. So if I had not contacted before, I would not have the chance now with this one.
So
this
now,
one who is in office now.
Have you met the one who is in power now?
I have not only met him, I have correspondence, I have a response directly from him to the president, Dr. Samuel Sako Ikome.
How long ago was that? I mean, the correspondence between... you don't need to show us. You don't need to show us. How long ago was...
That's okay. So...
Yes.
He took over office. He took over office in...
Yes, go on.
Yeah, he took over office in May. The election process
May last year
ended in March with a victory. Yeah, 2021.
2020.
No, 2021.
2021. Okay, so you took office in May 2021, and
we continued. Okay, finish your question, sir.
Yes, go ahead. Go on. You continued.
We continued, and of course, we were requested to start from scratch, to start from zero. So the old regime is gone. We've gone with every references abroad. We say, no, it's over.
Reverend Chang, I'm sorry. I'm really struggling to hear you because the quality of your audio is not the best at all. I can hear you though. I can hear you, but it's just the quality. So we want to know what happened from the moment you made the new leader and then communicate with Dr. Sako. What happens after that?
Even after meeting the new leader and communicating to, it has been, so what? You report, it is weighted. I will follow up, like I said, if we are not going to call some names or some dates, follow up is expected. Who is the chief diplomat? It is the diplomat in chief for Amazonia is the person who incarnates the nation. And they should be excited about it. They should not sleep about it. No day do I sit and get a follow-up on this note. I am the one trying to give follow-up, trying to ask, let's do this again. Now that everything is needed anew,
Yeah.
can we do a refurnishing of everything anew? Can we check this and check this? All right. As these things were going on, we struggle and secure. They say, okay, fine, we're gonna do a letter. But of course, the letter came, and the president, the current president, Secretary General, Minister of External Relations and Human Mobility, and the rest, talked on the possibility of straining, especially now that the Republic of Cameroon hasn't got an embassy in the state country, in most of Latin America. It was then a challenge. Recently, the new president also got his Minister of External Relations sacked, and a new one has come in. This is when I said I was really, really, really crushed, because as you can see me, I'm not in the best of health, but I still struggle to meet. I was tipped by those who are following up this matter and waiting, to get their diplomatic gains in this matter, employment, the rest of it, and they're moving out to our own nation. They tip me that now that this person has been changed and this new one has come in, you already know the procedure here. If we don't quickly put new things at his table, beloved listeners, I said I'm not sound. I struggled to get there, and they came back to the upper room where I was trying to let it be known that these are the recent developments. To my greatest surprise, I was put almost in a tribunal, and I pleaded that I'm not sound. I only came to the prayer meeting to put this point for prayers, hoping that those closest to power will carry it to power and something will be done. But that is how I was kicked out of that group. I have been kicked out of the pastors' forum. In fact, I was even kicked out of foreign affairs platform before I was, replaced. Yet, I have done everything to meet with the new minister, with other presidents of foundations and so on, and the fire has already moved from the minister's desk to the director of Asia, African, and Oceano Affairs. This is where we are. What is also needed now is new letters of credence. I'm saying that diplomacy is not our wish. It's not I like this or I don't like this. When His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako was installed in office, his letter of inauguration and so on was also circulated. If you go to that letter, you see that it was sent to the international community. In the international community with a 2-year mandate, it was rather logical to see that this 2-year mandate is still well. that letter had to be presented to this government to know that they're dealing with somebody who has the vote of the people. Why would it be a taboo to get an election that can, renew his mandate and continue with the process? They know that any letter I bring to these very diplomatic issues with the same name, without an election, without a formal listing, can only come from a higher body than that. Well, this should not be talked here. But let's say that Ambazonians should have hope, as you are not supposed to put your backs in one basket as far as diplomacy is concerned. If we were able to have 64 countries that voted for Southern Cameroon's independence to, stand out and speak their votes, because some of the things I didn't say, Secretary Chris, is that the things we have been putting is to get these people to go to the United Nations and speak. They were supposed to surprise us at the United Nations, surprise the world at the United Nations by speaking for Ambazonia.
All right.
And who is that diplomat who thinks that it is just going to just happen just anyhow? What are the added impetus that authority can say they added to this move?
All right, Reverend, we are going to maybe try to bring you back to continue with this conversation. The audio is not the best, and there is a story that is coming up that may be some breaking news coming in here. I'd like everybody to stay put. I'm going to be coming to that. But for now, Reverend Nchang, thank you for all your service. Thank you for all your sacrifice to Ambazonia. This is going to be a new beginning. There is going to be a new beginning, and we will definitely get back to you to see that you can continue to push in that area where you are for some recognition for Ambazonia. Thank you, sir. It was great to have you.
Thank you for having me, Secretary Chris. And let Ambazonians be encouraged. The interim government is not an individual. The fight is for Ambazonia, and the victory is sure.
All right, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Reverend Nchang narrating his experience trying to secure this country to recognize a free and independent Ambazonia in his neck of the wood. We were amazed last week when he narrated this and seeing how far he went to almost securing us a recognition, but the leadership will not close the deal. Dr. Sako and the Foreign Department would not close the deal. It was quite disappointing because, as I said here last time, just imagine we had one country that recognizes us. We would be having our own passports. We would be having our own passports. That never happened. Whatever the case, this is a new dispensation, and we hope that things will take a better direction. Now, I'm going to take you to a new subject now, something that I call the real coup d'etat, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard it over and over again in the social media of people labeling some coup plotters, coup leaders, and so on and so forth. They want you to believe that some people have been trying to lead a coup that will overthrow Dr. Samuel Ekome Sako. Things are having or taking a different twist as we see it. It appears that if there is indeed a coup or coup leaders, the coup is coming from those who support and stand on the side of outgoing President Dr. Samuel Ekome Sako. And of course, I would call him even the coup leader. He will be the coup leader, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Samuel Ekome Sako, you will recall, has banned the APP, the Amba peace plan originating from Berlin that's supposed to be the Constituent Assembly for the people of Ambazonia, the Supreme House of the people. He has banned that and then in the place of it created a pseudo. Now, we learned last week, they also went ahead to conduct a vote that essentially dissolved the Ambazonia Restoration Council. He has also now fired the vice president. I don't want to say he fired me, really, because I walked away. I walked away from it. But ladies and gentlemen, he kept Irene Ngwa, fired Dr. Abongwa, the man who has been the technocrat, the architect behind these interim government programs, ladies and gentlemen. But now, after the Restoration Council issued a statement a week ago from a 2-week meeting stating that Dr. Sako can no longer effect any changes in his cabinet. He can no longer make any appointments or make any reshufflement. He went ahead, did just the same. And when the Restoration Council leaders sent out a statement re-emphasizing on the rules set forth by the Restoration Council, the outgoing president summoned his cronies, 114 of them, to put out a motion giving a motion of no confidence on the Restoration Council, giving a motion of no confidence on the Restoration Council. Now, that has now gone beyond that. They are now getting to the counties, the LGAs, and they are asking the counties to withdraw their Restoration Council representatives from the House. And so, in a few days, you've seen some counties sending out statements withdrawing their representatives from the Restoration Council, even though none has actually withdrawn. None has actually withdrawn. And so you have counties like Ngo Ketunjia, you have counties like Mezan, you have counties like Momo, ladies and gentlemen, writing to the public and wanting Ambazonians to know they have withdrawn their representation from the Restoration Council. Now, the secretary of the Restoration Council, Dr. Winnie Lubati, is also said to be pulling out people from the Restoration Council. They are pulling out people from the Restoration Council. Now, she is among some 7 Restoration Council members who put out a memo indicating, ladies and gentlemen, that they are pulling out of the Restoration Council in protest to the statement put out a week ago by the chairman, passing an injunction on Dr. Sako not to make any appointments. So, the Secretary General of the Restoration Council has broken ranks. She has broken ranks. She now joins a league of 7 that are pulling out or supposed to have pulled out of the Restoration Council. Now look at what she does. She goes in, uses her powers as the only admin in the Restoration Council forum to pull out those that their LGAs and counties have said they no longer represent them at the Restoration Council. She pulls them out, ladies and gentlemen, but she doesn't pull herself out. Momo says they are pulling out all of their representation at the Restoration Council. Dr. Winnie Lubati, the secretary, gets into the forum. And because she's the only one with the admin rights in that forum, she pulls out other Restoration Council members from Momo. She leaves herself there. Yet she is a Momo representative. She represents Momo in that RC. So that is what is going on. This is the letter, ladies and gentlemen, that they sent out. This is the letter they sent out. This is the letter they sent out, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Again, I have some breaking news coming to you. Please hit your share button. Some breaking news is coming your way. It is big. I believe it is going to be big. Hit your share button. But this is the memo coming from some Restoration Council members, to which Dr. Winnie Lubati, the Secretary General of the Restoration Council, is a signatory. Now it says, to the people of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, mindful of the purported resolution letter by the chairman of the Restoration Council signed on behalf of the Government Affairs Committee and published on social media on January 1, the below listed members of the Restoration Council distance themselves from the above mentioned communique for the following reasons. And they say, reason number one, they said resolutions were never voted on the floor of the Restoration Council. This is also not true. It's a lie. Listen, number two, mindful of the terms of reference of the Restoration Council, terms of reference ensures government for the people by the people. In other words, the interim constitution is the highest law of the land, and everyone must act according to its provisions and principles, including the Restoration Council. The letter says Article 3, subparagraph 1 and 3 states, this interim constitution is the supreme law of the state. Now, they go on quoting all this stuff which just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, ladies and gentlemen. And then they conclude by saying, therefore, the aforementioned letter, referring to the letter signed by the chairman, Elvis Cometa, the aforementioned letter and its resolutions are null and void. Null and void. Not binding on the Restoration Council and or the people of Ambazonia, because it was never voted on by the Restoration Council sitting in session. I mean to say, only voted resolutions can be promulgated into law upon the president signing a bill from the Restoration Council. These guys, they don't know what they sit in that. First of all, the language of this statement here, sent out by these 5 Restoration Council members led by the Secretary General, it comes across like as written by a teenager. Sounds like the language of a high school leaver, not the language of lawmakers, ladies and gentlemen. It is childish, immature, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Furthermore, it says, we call on Chairman Elvis Cometa to officially withdraw the letter immediately and apologize to the people of Ambazonia for causing such chaos and confusion. We call on the people of Ambazonia to disregard the said letter and focus on prosecuting the revolution and pushing out La République du Cameroon, signed by Juan Peter Kube, Winnie Lubati, Richard Gangbobga, Ade Tima, John Titanta, Jackson Asabi, And Chris Tybray. And Chris Tybray, again, this is coming from some rogue members of the Restoration Council who could not get their way. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask them, and those of you who stand with them, how come, how is it even possible that out of 31 members of the Restoration Council, only seven will step out to say a vote of that document did not take place in the General Assembly? How is it even possible that only 7 will step out to make this claim? Of course, you can tell the agenda just didn't it didn't just work to their favor, and now they are protesting. Now, out of this statement from these 7, ladies and gentlemen, out of this statement, ladies and gentlemen, this is what is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit in the 1-minute break. Again, I am expecting some breaking news in here. I will be right back.
Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day, on Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken. Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day, on Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken. Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day, on Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. It's kind of a day here, but listen, I am ending this broadcast at this moment. But listen, I will be back in 30 minutes or 1 hour. All of you remain on the alert. Some news is breaking right now as I come to you, as I speak. I will be back. Please get back in 30 minutes, 1 hour, whenever you find the broadcast back up. So again, I will be back in between 30 minutes to 1 hour for some news that is breaking right now. Thank you very much. See you very soon.
Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day, on Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken. Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day, on Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken. Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day, on Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken.